Commander Hyanwu stared at the glowing screen in front of him, his three eyes blinking in confusion. The numbers didn't make sense. For the past 6 hours, his deep space radar had been tracking something that shouldn't exist. Lieutenant Su, run the scan again, he called across the bridge of the Valerian monitoring station. His voice echoed in the metal chamber that floated in the empty darkness between star systems. Sujin's fingers danced over her control panel. Her green skin turned pale as the same readings appeared. Sir, it's still there. The object is moving at steady speed toward the inner systems. The energy signature is ... strange. Hyanwu walked over to her station. His boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. Outside the small windows, stars twinkled like tiny diamonds against the black void of space. Show me the details. The screen filled with numbers and charts. Sujin pointed at the energy readings. Look at this, sir. The ship is using fusion drives, basic fusion technology. But the power output is enormous. It's like someone built a campfire that burns as hot as a star. Fusion drives. Hyanwu's middle eye widened. Those haven't been used in thousands of years. Only the most primitive species ever used such simple technology. That's not the strangest part, Sujin continued. She pulled up another screen. The ship's path is perfect. Too perfect. It's not drifting like a dead vessel. Someone is flying it. Hyanwu felt a chill run down his spine. In his 40 years of monitoring deep space, he had seen asteroids, comets, and broken ships, but this was different. This was intelligent. This was planned. Pull up the old archives, he ordered. Search for anything about fusion drive technology. Sujin's claws clicked on her keyboard. Ancient files appeared on the screen. Most were marked as folklore or legend. Sir, there are some old stories. Here, they talk about a species called humans. But these are just myths. Read them anyway. Sujin cleared her throat. The legends say humans were a strange species. They used simple technology, but achieved impossible things. They built ships that could cross the galaxy. They created weapons that could destroy planets. But then they vanished. Some say they died out. Others say they transcended to a higher form of existence. Hyanwu studied the radar readings again. The unknown ship continued its steady path toward civilized space. How long ago did these humans supposedly disappear? The stories vary, sir. Somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 years ago. Most scholars believe they never existed at all. The ruins attributed to them could belong to any ancient civilization. Ruins, Hyanwu asked. Yes, sir. There are strange structures on dozens of worlds. Impossible architecture. Materials we can't identify. Technologies we can't understand. But no one has ever found a human body or a complete human ship. The commander walked to the main viewport. In the distance, he could see the faint glow of the nearest star system. Millions of beings lived there. Traders, farmers, scientists, soldiers, all going about their daily lives, unaware that something from their darkest legends might be heading their way. Sir, Sujin's voice was barely a whisper. What if the stories are true? What if humans really existed? Hyanwu didn't answer. Right away. He watched the stars and thought about the implications. If humans were real, if they had truly possessed such advanced technology, then their return would change everything. The current galactic civilization had taken thousands of years to develop faster than light travel, energy shields, and quantum computers. But according to the legends, humans had mastered these things when other species were still discovering. Fire, sir. Should we try to make contact? Sujin asked. Not yet, Hyanwu replied. First, we need to alert the Galactic Communication Network. Every species in the galaxy needs to know about this. He walked back to his command chair and activated the emergency communication system. A holographic display appeared, showing the network of relay stations that connected thousands of worlds. "This is Commander Hyan Wu of Deep Space Monitoring Station 7, he began. "I am transmitting a Priority 1 alert to all civilizations. We have detected an unknown vessel using primitive fusion technology. The ship appears to be under intelligent control and is heading toward populated systems." He paused, knowing his next words would cause panic across the galaxy. "Based on the energy signatures and flight patterns, this vessel may be of human origin. I repeat, we may have detected a human ship." Within minutes, responses flooded in from across the galaxy. Some demanded more information. Others called him insane. A few simply cut their communication links, too terrified to respond. The Drakmori Empire was the first to react with military force. "Commander Hyanwu, this is General Kex of the Drakmori fleet. We are dispatching warships to intercept this vessel immediately." "General, I advise caution," Hyanwu replied. "If this truly is a human ship, we have no idea what capabilities it might possess. Humans are myths, Commander. Stories told to frighten children. Whatever this ship is, it will be destroyed or captured." As the communication ended, Hyanwu felt a deep sense of dread. Across the galaxy, ancient fears were awakening. Species that had never agreed on anything were suddenly united in terror. The ship continued its steady approach, unaware of the chaos it had already caused. The communication console suddenly came alive with a sound that made everyone on the bridge freeze. It was a transmission, but not on any frequency they recognized. The static cleared, and a voice spoke through the speakers. "This is Captain Minho of the UES Endurance. We have completed our survey mission and would appreciate navigational assistance to Earth coordinates." Commander Hyanwu's mouth fell open. The voice was speaking perfect Valerian, as if the speaker had been born on their home world. But that was impossible. No human had ever learned their language, because humans were supposed to be extinct. "Sir," Engineer Dayun whispered, her voice shaking, "the transmission is coming from the unknown ship." "But how can they speak our language?" Lieutenant Sujin was frantically working at her station. "Commander, you need to see this. They're not just speaking Valerian. The computer is detecting 17 different languages in the same transmission. It's like they're talking to multiple species at once." Hyanwu walked over to look at her screen. The language analysis showed a list that made his blood run cold. Valerian, Drakmori, Gestai, and 14 others. 3 of the languages hadn't been spoken in over 2,000 years. "How is this possible?" Dayun asked. "Those dead languages exist only in ancient archives. No living being knows how to speak them." The voice came through the speakers again. "This is Captain Minho. We're receiving multiple signals from this sector. Is there anyone available to provide current star charts? Our navigation data might be a bit outdated." Hyanwu activated the communication system with trembling fingers. "This is Commander Hyanwu of the Valerian Deep Space Monitoring Station. Please identify yourself and state your intentions." "Hello, Commander Hyanwu," the voice replied cheerfully. "As I mentioned, I'm Captain Minho. We're returning from a long-range survey mission in the outer spiral arms. We'd like to return home to Earth, but our stellar cartography is about 15,000 years out of date. Could you help us with current galactic maps?" 15,000 years. The number hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. That was before most of their civilizations had even developed spaceflight. "Captain Minho," Hyanwu said carefully, "what species are you?" "We're human, of course." "Sorry, I thought that was obvious from our ship designation. US stands for United Earth Ship." Engineer Doyun dropped her data pad. It clattered on the metal floor, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. Every eye on the bridge turned to stare at the communication console. "Humans," Sujin whispered. "Real humans." Through the main view screen, they could see the approaching ship more clearly now. It was enormous, at least 5 times larger than their monitoring station. The design was smooth and elegant, with curves that seemed to flow like water. No sharp edges, no visible weapons, no exhaust ports from the fusion drives they had detected. "Sir," Dayun said, picking up her datapad with shaking hands, "I'm scanning their ship. The materials are unlike anything in our databases. The hull appears to be a single piece of some kind of metal alloy, but my instruments can't identify the composition." I studied the ship's design. Something about it felt familiar, like a half-remembered dream. Pull up the archaeological database. Search for ancient structures with similar design patterns. The screen filled with images from dig sites across the galaxy. Mysterious buildings, strange monuments, and impossible structures that had puzzled scientists for centuries. The curved lines and smooth surfaces matched the human ship perfectly. "By the void," Sujin breathed. "All those ruins we thought were from unknown civilizations. They were human settlements." Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers. "Again, Commander, we're detecting some concerning energy signatures in this sector. Are you experiencing any hostile activity? We'd be happy to assist if needed." "Hostile activity?" Hyenwu asked. "Several warships are approaching your position at high speed. Drakmori design, if I'm reading this correctly. Are they friends of yours?" Hyenwu's stomach dropped. He had forgotten about General Kex and his fleet. The Drakmori warships were coming to destroy what they thought was a primitive vessel, using outdated technology. "Captain Minho, those ships are not friendly. They're coming to attack you. You should retreat immediately." There was a pause, then gentle laughter came through the speakers. "Attack us? Oh, Commander, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're just a science vessel. We don't want any trouble." "Sir," Dayun reported, "the Drakmori fleet is dropping out of hyperspace. 12 heavy cruisers and a battle carrier. They're powering up their weapons." On the view screen, the space around them filled with the angular shapes of Drakmori warships. Each one bristled with plasma cannons and missile launchers. The human ship looked tiny and helpless by comparison. "This is General Kex of the Empire," a harsh voice cut through their communications. "Unknown vessel, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Captain Minho responded with the same cheerful tone. "Hello, General Kex. I'm Captain Minho. There seems to be some confusion here. We're peaceful explorers returning from a research mission." "You are human," General Kex snarled. "Humans are enemies of all civilized species. Prepare to die." "Okay." Dear Minho sighed. "It seems our reputation has gotten a bit distorted over the years. Commander Hyenwu, you might want to move your station back a safe distance. This could get messy." Dr. Jihai stood in the center of the Great Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime, the most important meeting place in the galaxy. Around her, holographic projections showed the faces of thousands of scholars, scientists, and government leaders from every known civilization. They had all come together for one reason: to understand what they had discovered about the humans. Her hands shook as she looked at the data on her portable screen. The numbers were so incredible that she had checked them dozens of times, hoping she had made a mistake. But the readings were correct, and they changed everything they thought they knew about the universe. "Fellow scholars," she began, her voice barely steady, "what I am about to tell you will sound impossible, but I have verified these findings with 17 different research teams across the galaxy." The assembly fell silent. Even the quiet humming of the translation system seemed to fade away. 3 days ago, we made contact with a human vessel. Their ship uses what appears to be simple fusion technology. But when we analyzed the energy output, we discovered something terrifying. She paused, taking a deep breath. "They're primitive. Fusion drives produce 50 times more power than our most advanced antimatter reactors." A wave of shocked murmurs swept through the assembly. The Kethtai representative stood up, his forearms waving in disbelief. "That's impossible. Our antimatter technology represents the peak of galactic science. I thought so too, Jihai replied. But the measurements don't lie. What we call their primitive technology is actually far beyond anything we have achieved. She activated a holographic display that showed the molecular structure of the human ship's hull. This is even more disturbing. Their ship appears to be made from materials that our physicists say cannot exist. The atomic structure is stable, but according to our understanding of physics, these elements should decay within microseconds. Scholar Velran from the Thorian Empire raised one of his tentacles. Perhaps our instruments are malfunctioning. We used 47 different scanning systems from 12 different species, Jihai answered. They all show the same results. The humans have material science that is centuries ahead of ours. Dr. Kethmyra, the galaxy's leading expert on faster-than-light travel, spoke from her holographic projection. Dr. Jihai, what about their propulsion systems? How do they achieve interstellar travel? Jihai's face grew pale. That's where things become truly frightening. During our communication with Captain Minho, he mentioned making a brief detour through the Andromeda Galaxy. The assembly erupted in shocked voices. The Andromeda Galaxy was 2.5 million light-years away, even with the fastest ships. In the Galactic Fleet, such a journey would take thousands of years. He spoke about it casually. Jihai continued, as if he had just visited a nearby star system. When we asked him about faster-than-light communication technology, he seemed genuinely surprised that we hadn't solved that problem yet. Scholar Taman, who had been quietly working at his data terminal, suddenly stood up. His face was white with shock. Dr. Jihai, I need to show everyone something. I've been analyzing the archaeological data from ancient dig sites across the galaxy. He activated his own holographic display. Images of mysterious ruins appeared in the air above the assembly. Strange buildings with flowing curves, monuments made from unknown materials, and structures that defied conventional engineering. For centuries, we've wondered who built these ruins, Timon said. We found them on over 300 worlds, but we never discovered any remains of their builders. We assumed they were monuments built by some extinct civilization. He pulled up technical scans of the ruins and compared them to images of the human ship. The design patterns were identical. The same flowing curves, the same impossible materials, the same advanced construction techniques. These aren't monuments, Taman said, his voice filled with growing horror. They're rest stops, refueling stations, supply depots. The humans never disappeared. They've been traveling through our galaxy for thousands of years, and these ruins mark their passage. The silence in the assembly was complete. Even the translation systems seemed to have stopped working as the full implications sank in. Dr. Jihai activated another display. When we asked Captain Minho about human history, he said they had been exploring the neighborhood for the past few thousand years. He used the word neighborhood to describe intergalactic space. By the void, whispered Commander Zethka of the Valerian Defense Force. If they consider multiple galaxies to be their neighborhood, what does that make us? Scholar Yanwei from the Academic Council of Reth spoke slowly. It means we're insects. We've spent millennia developing technology that we thought represented the peak of scientific achievement. Meanwhile, the humans have been casually traveling between galaxies, using our most advanced worlds as convenient stopping points. Dr. Jihai nodded grimly. The energy readings from their ship suggest they have power sources we can't even theorize about. Their materials science is beyond our comprehension. Their propulsion technology makes our fastest ships look like primitive rockets. And they've been watching us, Taman added. All this time, while we built our civilizations and fought our wars, they've been out there, observing, waiting. The assembly hall filled with fearful whispers, as the galaxy's greatest minds realized they were no longer at the top of the cosmic food chain. They never had been. Somewhere in the depths of space, Captain Minho and his crew continued their journey home, unaware that their simple requests for directions had shattered the confidence of an entire galaxy. The alarm sirens screamed through the monitoring station as Commander Hyenwu watched his worst nightmare come true. On the main screen, 12 massive Korgan battle cruisers dropped out of hyperspace like predators smelling blood. Each ship was twice the size of his station, bristling with plasma cannons and missile launchers that could reduce a planet to ash. "Sir, they're powering up weapons," Lieutenant Sujin reported, her voice tight with fear. "All ships are targeting us." Hyenwu had heard stories about the Korgan Empire his entire life. They were the galaxy's most feared military force. Their ships had never lost a battle. Their weapons could crack moons in half. Their shields could withstand the combined firepower of entire fleets. "This is War Commander Thek of the Korgan Death Fleet," a harsh voice growled through the communication system. "Surrender the human vessel immediately, or we will destroy your pathetic station along with it." Through the viewport, Hyenwu could see the human ship floating peacefully nearby. It looked so small compared to the Korgan monsters surrounding them, so fragile, so helpless. "Captain Minho," Hyenwu transmitted urgently, "you need to run. Those are Korgan destroyers. They've conquered half the galaxy. Their weapons can turn entire worlds into dust. They've never been defeated." There was a pause. Then Captain Minho's cheerful voice came through the speakers. "Oh, those fellows. The ones with all the spiky bits sticking out of their ships. They look a bit aggressive." "Captain, this is no time for jokes," Hyenwu shouted. "You have to escape while you still can. Escape." Minho sounded genuinely puzzled. "Commander, they're threatening your station. Your people could be hurt. Would you like us to handle your pest problem?" Engineer Dayun looked up from her console, with wide eyes. "Sir, the Korgan ships are charging their main guns. Impact in 30 seconds. Hyenwu felt his heart sink. In 30 seconds, his station and everyone on it would be vaporized. The human ship would probably be destroyed too, and with it, the greatest discovery in galactic history. "Captain Minho," he said desperately, "there's nothing you can do. Just run, please." "Oh, don't worry about us," Minho replied calmly. "We'll sort this out." What happened next made every person on the bridge question their understanding of reality. The human ship simply moved. There was no flash of engines, no energy buildup that their sensors could detect, no visible propulsion system activating. One moment the ship was floating peacefully beside the station. The next moment, it was directly between them and the Korgan fleet, as if it had simply decided to be somewhere else. "How did they do that?" Sujin whispered. Before anyone could answer, beams of pure light reached out from the human vessel. They weren't like any weapons the galaxy had ever seen. No plasma bolts, no energy blasts, no explosive warheads, just gentle streams of silver light that touched each Korgan ship with delicate precision. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The Korgan vessels didn't explode. They didn't burn. They didn't break apart. They simply stopped existing. One moment, 12 massive warships filled the view screen. The next moment, there was nothing but empty space, and slowly, expanding clouds of glittering dust. Engineer Biora stared at her instruments in shock. "Sir, the Korgan ships are gone, completely gone. My scanners show no debris larger than individual atoms." "Atoms?" Hyenwu asked weakly. "The weapons somehow separated every molecule in their ships and dispersed them evenly through space. It's like they were never there at all." Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers again, sounding slightly embarrassed. "Sorry about the light show, Commander. We don't usually have to deal with hostile forces in civilized space. We'll file the appropriate cleanup reports with whoever handles space traffic in this sector." Hyenwu found his voice after several attempts. "Captain, what kind of weapons were those?" "Weapons?" Minho sounded surprised. "Oh, those weren't weapons. That was just our molecular recycling system. We use it to break down space debris and asteroid fragments. Very handy for clearing shipping lanes. You used a garbage disposal system to destroy the most powerful fleet in the galaxy, Dayun asked in a tiny voice. Well, when you put it that way, it sounds a bit harsh. Minho chuckled. We prefer to think of it as efficient matter reorganization, much more environmentally friendly than explosive weapons. Lieutenant Sujin was studying her scanner readings with trembling hands. Sir, I'm detecting energy signatures from the human ship that shouldn't be possible. The power levels are off our measurement scales. Oh, and Commander, Minho added casually, I should mention that this is just our science vessel. We're mainly equipped for research and exploration. Our actual military ships are much more capable. The bridge fell silent as the implications hit them. A science ship, a research vessel, had just eliminated the galaxy's most feared battle fleet using what they considered basic utility equipment across the galaxy. Military commanders who had been monitoring the battle sat in stunned silence at their command posts. The Korgan Empire had been the nightmare that kept them awake at night. Now it had been casually erased by beings who treated the act like sweeping dust off a table. On the monitoring station, Hyenwu realized that everything had changed. The galaxy's power structures, its military hierarchies, its understanding of what was possible. All of it was now meaningless. They weren't just meeting another species. They were meeting gods. The Great Council Chamber on Nexus Prime had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from every known civilization filled the massive dome-shaped hall. Drakmori generals sat beside Valerian diplomats, Kethtai merchants, shared tables with Thorian scholars. Even the mysterious Voidwalkers had sent delegates. They had all come for one reason, to meet the humans. Captain Minho walked to the center of the chamber with the casual confidence of someone taking a stroll through a park. He wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations or medals. His black hair was neatly combed, and he smiled at the assembled delegates as if greeting old friends at a family reunion. Hello, everyone, he said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. It's wonderful to see how far you've all come. Behind him, holographic displays flickered to life. The images showed technologies that made the galaxy's greatest scientists gasp in amazement. Medical devices that could regrow entire organs in minutes. Starships that could cross galaxies in days instead of centuries. Energy systems that could power entire star systems with machines the size of dinner plates. Humanity is pleased to see our younger siblings have built such a wonderful civilization, Minho continued warmly. We'd like to officially rejoin Galactic Society and share some of our basic research with you. Counselor Sung-ho of the Galactic Trade Federation stood up, his voice shaking. Captain Minho, did you say basic research? Oh yes, Minho nodded, cheerfully. These are just some simple projects our students work on, nothing too advanced. We thought they might be helpful for improving your daily lives. Sung-ho looked at the holographic displays, showing power sources that could eliminate energy poverty forever, medical treatments that could extend lifespans by thousands of years, and transportation systems that would make interstellar travel as easy as walking to the next room. Your students created these? He asked weakly. Well, our younger students, Minho explained. The older ones work on more complex projects, like dimensional engineering and temporal mechanics. But we thought we'd start with the basics. Dr. Jihai, who was observing from the gallery, felt her mind struggling to process what she was hearing. If these were basic technologies created by students, what could mature human scientists accomplish? We hope you don't mind that we've been keeping watch, Minho continued, his tone apologetic. Old habits from when you were all still developing. We wanted to make sure you had room to grow naturally. Supremiat Mido. Kextran of the Drakmori Empire leaned forward. Keeping watch. What do you mean? Minho gestured vaguely toward the ceiling. Oh, we've had observation posts scattered throughout the galaxy for the past several thousand years, just to make sure everyone was safe. You'd be surprised how many asteroids and cosmic phenomena we've quietly redirected away from inhabited worlds. As he spoke, the space visible through the chamber's transparent dome began to shimmer. The stars seemed to bend and twist, and then shapes began to appear. First one, then 10, then dozens of vessels materialized around the council station. The assembled delegates stared in horror and amazement as an entire fleet of human ships revealed themselves. Each vessel was different, with flowing designs that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Some were small and elegant, no larger than shuttlecraft. Others were massive constructs that dwarfed the largest battleships in the galactic fleet. How long have they been there? Whispered the Kethtai representative. Always, Minho answered simply. We've been watching over all of you since your species first developed space travel. Sometimes we had to intervene quietly to prevent disasters. A few redirected comets here, some adjusted stellar phenomena there. Nothing dramatic. Commander Hyanwu watched from his monitoring station, his mind reeling. Every major event in galactic history suddenly took on new meaning. The mysterious disappearance of the plague ship that would have infected 12 worlds. The asteroid that missed the Thorian homeworld by mere kilometers. The solar flare that should have sterilized the Valerian colonies but somehow dispersed harmlessly into space. You've been protecting us, he whispered to himself. Captain Minho activated another holographic display. This one showed a map of the galaxy with thousands of small dots scattered across it. These represent some of our more obvious installations. Research stations, emergency supply depots, communication relays. We tried to make them look like natural formations or ancient ruins so we wouldn't interfere with your development. Scholar Taman stood up in the gallery, his face pale. The ruins we've been studying for centuries, they're yours. Guilty as charged, Minho smiled. We're not very good at disguising our architecture. We tried to make them look old and mysterious, but I suppose our design aesthetic is a bit distinctive. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs as the reality sank in. Every archaeological mystery, every unexplained phenomenon, every impossible rescue from cosmic disaster, it all had the same explanation. Why? Asked Counselor Sung-ho. Why did you watch over us? Why did you protect us? Minho's expression grew serious for the first time. Because you're our family. Different species, different worlds, but family nonetheless. We may have developed faster than you, but that doesn't make us better. It just makes us responsible. He looked around the chamber at the faces staring back at him. The universe is vast and often dangerous, but it's also filled with incredible beauty and potential. When we found younger civilizations struggling to survive, we couldn't just walk away. We stayed to help, even if you never knew we were there. Commander Hyanwu felt tears running down his face as understanding finally dawned. The galaxy had never been alone in the darkness. They had always been watched, always been protected. Always been loved by elder siblings who asked nothing in return. The legends weren't about humanity's past. They were glimpses of humanity's present, seen through eyes that could barely comprehend the kindness they witnessed.